Welcome to the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Florida Panthers have a 3-1 series lead. They're one win away from going to their third straight Stanley Cup final. The Hurricanes trying to force us back to Game 6 in Sunrise, Florida, as they play here home tonight. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Max. Delighted to have you with us here tonight on the Eastern Conference's final. Game number 5 of the Eastern Conference final, potential series-ending game right here in Raleigh, North Carolina. If the Hurricanes do not win this one, they are 0-2 at their home building this series. They have been outscored 10-2 in the games they've played at their home arena. They've only scored 2 goals, and one of them was from, or the only 2 of them were in a game 1. The game 2, they got shut out 5-0. Crowd rallying here, the Caniacs rallying with their rally towels, trying to force this to a Game 6. Darius Rucker, a 3-time Grammy winner, spinning the air siren as everyone is going crazy inside of the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. As the starting goalies for tonight's game will be Sergei Bobrovsky for the Florida side of things. 11-5-0 in these playoffs, 2.05 goals against allowed, and a save percentage of a .914 and 3 shutouts in this postseason. The other side, Frederik Andersen with a huge Game 4 shutout against Florida to force this back to a Game 5 here in Raleigh, North Carolina at Lenovo Center. As he is starting tonight. He's 8-4 in the playoffs. He has a 1.84 goals against allowed and a save percentage of a .914, tied with Bobrovsky with that save percentage as of the moment, and 2 shutouts, the last coming in Game 4 of this series. They're going to need a huge game from Frederik Andersen, and a lot of additions here for the Florida Panthers. Back in the lineup is Reinhart, Mikkola, and Greer that are all expected to play Game 5 of this Eastern Conference final, trying to close out the series here tonight, as we will see if they can get that. Mikkola, this series versus Carolina, he has 2 goals, 2 assists, 4 shots, 11 hits. He had missed Game 4 due to injury, and the defense for the Panthers gets right back in a huge third period that they had in game number 3. Nico Mikkola with 2 goals in that third period, I believe. He had a great performance, as we'll send it down to the Anthems in Raleigh, North Carolina. As let's see if the Hurricanes can force this back to Sunrise, Florida for game number 6 of the Eastern Conference final. We will see. Florida trying to close it out here tonight as everyone's lining up for the Anthems here. Hurricanes fans looking to see a win here tonight, as we will see if they can do so.
Fire Department Honor Guard. At this time, please rise if you are able. Kindly remove your caps and join us as we honor America with the singing of the Star-Spangled Banner. Performed this evening by Adam Lee Decker.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets are everywhere, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave
Crowd loving it here in Carolina as they're ready for a game number 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, trying to force this back to a game 6 in Sunrise, Florida, and try to extend this series, as that's a Dallas Stars jersey right behind Paul Maurice. Dallas is down 3-1 in their series. Tomorrow night, they'll play in Game 5 in Dallas, Texas, see if they can force their series back to Edmonton for a Game 6. Or else it will be a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Final with the Florida Panthers and the Edmonton Oilers. Bobrovsky in and Frederik Andersen in the goalie positions. Bobrovsky taking a little bit here with his goalie equipment, barely putting it on right now. In his last 4 road starts, he is 4-0, a 1 goals against allowed, and a .961 save percentage. He has been very good on the road in the last 4 starts he's had. Frederik Andersen, the 3rd goalie in franchise history to record a shutout in an elimination game. That win in Sunrise, Florida was the first time the Carolina Hurricanes had won an Eastern Conference Final game since they beat Buffalo in Game 7 in this same building, the Lenovo Center, which was named, I believe, I'm not even sure what it was named at that point. But that was the last time, and guess who scored the game winner in that game? Rod Brindamore, now the coach of this Carolina Hurricanes squad. He's trying to coach their team to a Game 6 of this series and extend it once again. Seth Jarvis out there with Aho and Svechnikov. Still a delay with Sergei Bobrovsky putting his equipment on. Top line for the Panthers, Reinhart, Barkov, and Rodriguez, and we're underway in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's hope my internet doesn't cut out 17 seconds into the game. Frederik Andersen out to play it. And it's Barkov's shot towards the net that deflected wide. And out to center it goes. Svechnikov dropped it off. Burns, now a stretch pass deflected at center. Knocked down by Reinhart and dumped back in. Rodriguez trying to get it. Could not. And Seth Jarvis will pick it up now. Aho, touch pass for Svechnikov, who will just shoot it back in from center ice. Forsling will bank it off the boards, and that will be an icing on Florida. 44 seconds in, and Verhaeghe arguing with the linesman. The referees tonight, Kelly Sutherland and John Hebert. The linesmen, Scott Cherry and Trent Knorr. Here tonight in game number 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Dallas lost last night, and we were supposed to be covering that game, and then my internet came out. So an Oilers 4-1 win in that one. Face-off one here by Carolina, held in the zone by Nikishin, and a shot by Martinook goes behind the net. Forsling now will move it up for the Panthers. They'll send it across for Ekblad that deflected it back in. No icing here. Bennett trying to get to the loose puck and Stahl will backhand it around and out to center ice it goes. Huge hit at center. A stretch pass that deflected off the tip of the stick, and they say no, and it's an icing on the Panthers. Again. A minute and 14 seconds into the first period. Already 2 whistles in the game. See if Carolina can take advantage of an offensive zone faceoff here. Jankowski gets it behind the net. Circles around. Centering pass goes through the crease, and Robinson was trying to get it. Turned over here. Jankowski made a move to Robinson. Couldn't get the shot away. Rebound shot. Jankowski missed it. Jankowski again goes back to the point. Burns a shot through traffic, and Bobrovsky makes a save. And a little bit of a scuffle right afterwards. Already, Carolina throwing pucks towards that net. And Bobrovsky coming up big. They got to get to Bobrovsky early. They scored first in the last game and won. They need to do the same here if they want to try to get a chance to take control of this game early on. Robinson and Jankowski with the opportunity to have a turnover by Verhaeghe along the boards. Robinson had it down deep and couldn't get the shot away, and then Jankowski's rebound was kind of deflected by the defenseman. Lundell in the face-off dot against Jankowski as the face-off won there by Jankowski. Loose along the boards, fought for, comes free, centering pass, Wade shoots, save, Slavin had the opportunity. 3 shots in favor of the Hurricanes and none in favor of the defending champs. 2 minutes into the first period here in Game 5. Almost another turnover by the Panthers, and they look rattled so far in this game. Carolina finding their game in Game 4, and they've kind of found it here in Game number 5. Here is Taylor Hall moving it in, a shot, blocked it away by Bobrovsky into the corner. Couldn't get it deep. Nosek trying to get it away from Blake. Hall was trying to get it out. Gadjevic couldn't clear it. Hall along the boards and then stolen away by Nosek. Almost intercepted there by Kakaniemi. For a moment it was there. Flipped out to center ice. Gadjevic slowed down. Anderson banks it off the boards. And Carolina tried to clear it out of the zone and could not. Held in nicely by the Panthers 2 times. And the 3rd time it is out to center ice. Here is Stahl. Jordan Stahl trying to move on Mikkola in the corner. He tries to center it and it comes back out to center ice. Stankoven, who scored the first goal in the game winner in game number 4 of the conference finals here, got their Canes a huge win. Almost held in there, and the Panthers looked to counter. Kachuk couldn't get a pass for Verhaeghe. And the Hurricanes will reset. Martinuk. Orlov pass back for Martinuk along the boards. Tried to send it in deep, could not. Deflected back at center ice. Here's Stankoven moving in with some speed. Logan Stankoven waits and shoots, and it was blocked in the slot. Almost looked like he was going to do the same move he did in Game 4 to score that goal. Great hustle there by Stankoven to get the puck back. Slavin sends it across for Burns, a shot. Blocked and out of play. And so far, the Hurricanes dominating more than 3.5 minutes into the first period of Game 5. Some good chances for the Hurricanes. They've got to get one through. A lot of hustle and forechecking by the Hurricanes early on. The Panthers not playing their game so far. Hurricanes disrupting their chances. Shot attempts are now 7-0 in favor of the Hurricanes. Here's Slavin. Dropped it off into the middle. Aho shot. Blocked out in front of the net. Ekblad blocked it. Jarvis. And then Barkov moved it up for Forsling into the corner. And we'll flip it out to center ice. 8-0 the shot attempt so far. Shot. Wide of the net. Rebound. Save. Anderson. Rodriguez with the opportunity off a bank board play. A Joe Louis Arena board play right there, you could say. 4 minutes into the first period. Good chance here, and it was blocked. No, it wasn't. This was the bump that Bobrovsky had gotten here by his own man. That's why Bobrovsky was down for a moment. Kulikov, and that looked kind of near the leg area. So now the Panthers have a shot on goal. They get an offensive zone faceoff here with Rodriguez taking it. Couldn't win the faceoff though. And it's flipped out to center ice by Slavin. And a little bit of an interference there, not called there on Svechnikov. Centering pass, couldn't connect there. Someone was open. Svechnikov couldn't get it. He gets knocked off the puck. Barkov will move it up the other way and will shoot it back in. Rimmed hard along the boards. Reinhardt trying to get it. Bouncing puck. Rodriguez gets it behind the net. He'll go back to the point. Forsling shot denied by Anderson. And it's flipped out to center ice. Stolen away here. A bad pass. Breakaway. Sebastian Aho. He scores! A huge one for the Hurricanes off a turnover. Sebastian Aho makes it 1-0 Hurricanes. A terrible pass at the middle of the ice by Gustav Forsling. And Aho takes advantage and goes 5-hole, or between the glove and pad of Bobrovsky. And it's 1-0 Carolina. That's the start they need, and they need to build on it. 1-0, they lead. They already have 4 shots in the game. Orlov sent to the crowd, and the Kitchen's shot blocked out in front of the net. That's their first lead at home this series. Their first lead of this series was in Game 4 with a Stankoven goal. They get their first lead here at home in this series. They've been dominant at home, and this series has not been like that. They look to change the narrative here. Jones will backhand it around. Held in by Kakayemi. Forced out the center ice. Shot back in by Nikishin. And the crowd loving it so far. In the first, about to be 6 minutes of this first period. As their Canes get a huge one there. Sebastian Aho with his 6th of the playoffs. And it looks like moving it up the other way again. Taylor Hall trying to get through Jones, who was kind of holding him from behind. Blake and Hall battling for the puck, and it comes free for Florida. Gadjevic will clear it back down the length of the ice to Morrow. Banks it off the boards for Gostisbehere. The third defensive pairing out there for the Hurricanes. Gostisbehere again, fan on the pass. Turnover here. Bennett makes a move. Bennett to the front. Loose in front of the net. Goes back. High shot. Wide of the net. 3 Hurricanes were down. Kachuk centering pass. Bennett over the net. To the point, held in by Forsling. Banked it off the boards in front of the net. And Blake will flip it out to center ice. Bennett couldn't get it. Bennett goes down along the boards. Race for the puck. Stankoven trying to get it. Dropped it off for Stahl. Trying to go back for Stankoven, who was pressured from behind. So far, we found some good intensity here. Stankoven steals it away off a pass. He has been very good in these playoffs for the Hurricanes. Stahl along the boards. Flipped up in the air. Bennett couldn't get in, and now Forsling will try to move it up. Deflected. Rodriguez, no icing. Slavin with Burns out there with him. On this top defensive pairing for the Hurricanes. That looked like a trip. No penalty there. Jarvis had went down. Scoring chances 3-2 in the game favoring the Hurricanes. That one deflected, and Anderson out to play it. Off the glass, intercepted by Reinhart. And Burns will backhand it back to the point as Jones held it in for the Panthers. Reinhart circles behind the net, pressured by Slavin, goes back high, shot, blocked in front of the net, and flipped out of the zone. A counterattack here again. Barkov will send it cross ice for Reinhart in front. Jones couldn't get it. His stick was lifted. Trying to go back door was Reinhart. Here's Marchand up high. He shoots. Glove saved by Anderson. A huge save there by Frederick Anderson. And we get our first stoppage in play to a commercial. 1-0 Hurricanes. A huge goal by Aho. They lead by 1 in Game 5. We welcome you back here to Raleigh, North Carolina. The Hurricanes have a 1-0 lead over the defending Stanley Cup champions as a terrible pass by Forsling, as everyone thought it would have been easy, and a line change happened when Forsling passed the puck, got intercepted by Aho, and that's why Aho had so much room to work with. He does not fail there as he makes it 1-0 off a crucial mistake by the Panthers. Jankowski gets kicked out of the faceoff dot, replaced by Robinson. Robinson wins the faceoff against Lundell. Deflected at center. Comes back for Marchand on side. Brad Marchand in, and he couldn't get the backhander off. He had beaten Anderson. He was down and out. Hurricanes are 6-0 in these playoffs. When scoring first, chance to the side of the net. Luostarinen with the opportunity. This line's been very good in the playoffs for the Panthers. Marchand, Luostarinen, and Lundell. Robinson deflected, held in again. Off the skate. Lundell shot. Save, rebound, loose. Luostarinen, it's covered. Everyone getting a scuffle right afterwards. Lundell goes down. Jankowski had actually taken him down. Punches exchanged there. Huge opportunities. But a huge save there by Anderson on all those opportunities for the Panthers. Marchand was all alone, and he was disrupted by sticks, or else this could be a tie game already. 11 and a half to go. It's going to be a Florida power play. And so the Panthers have an opportunity to tie this game. They scored a lot of power play goals in game 2. They have been very good on the power play, and yeah, they didn't agree with the call. They're calling Nikishin for taking the helmet off of Schmidt. So Florida will get a power play. Rod Brindamore does not like the call. That's not. I don't know about that call. Rod Brindamore still heated on the bench. You can still see from the view of the camera here he is yelling at the referee right now. Straight up in his face. So a Florida power play cleared immediately by Carolina. They're at 23.1%. That's 7th ranked in these playoffs. They've been very good on the power play. Reinhart moving all the way around. Martinuk trying to clear it. Barkov behind the net. And the stick was slashed and no call. Centering pass here and it deflected. Tkachuk. Brent Burns does not have his stick as it got slashed, and no penalty was called by the referees, and it's out of play, and Brent Burns is barking at the referee for why that was not called on Tkachuk. Or was it Ekblad? I'm not sure. Let's see here. I think it might have been Barkov. So a penalty that was not called, that could have evened this up at 4-on-4, instead gets ignored by the referees, John Hebert and Kelly Sutherland. A clear slash and nothing called. That's coming from unbiased at all. That's a clear slash. I don't know why that did not get called. Jones' shot goes low. Reinhardt centered. And Aho will flip it out to center ice and clear it down the length of the ice. Bobrovsky out to play it. And Seth Jones will get it. He'll pass it back for Sam Reinhart. Shot back in from the blue line. Rimmed around along the boards. Tkachuk, now Reinhart. Ekblad will get it along the boards. In the corner, will go behind the net for Tkachuk. Back for Ekblad again along the boards. Now in the circle. Tkachuk on the goal line looking. Matthew Tkachuk goes back to the point for Jones. Sends it across. Reinhart trying to go back for Tkachuk. That bounced up into the air. Goes into the corner. Barkov tied up. Tkachuk will go back to the point. That's another penalty upcoming. Panthers going to get a penalty here. And we'll even it up. And Ekblad does not like the call. So 39 seconds of 4-on-4. And now they call that slash, or that was the other slash from earlier, I believe. And that's why they were mad at that. It's a clear slash. I don't know how that wasn't called originally. So I believe now we have 4-on-4 for 39 seconds, and then the Carolina power play will follow. No, it won't. It's actually going to be still a Florida power play. It looked like for a second it was going to be 4-on-4 here, and I thought they had called a penalty. They did not. Wow. Held in at the line by Schmidt. Will go back high for Marchand. Bennett along the boards. 15 to go. Schmidt sends it across. Back for Schmidt's shot. Blocked that in front of the net. Marchand and then Burns trying to move it up for Martinuk, who clears it down the length of the ice. And the power play expires for the Panthers. Crowd rallying as they kill off the penalty. Shots are even at 4, but it's still 1-0. Hurricanes advantage here in Game 5. Schmidt has it behind the net. He'll bank it off the boards out to center ice. And it's sent back in. No shots on that Florida power play. They're 0 for 1 on the night. Gostisbehere along the boards gets taken down to the ice. And a race for the puck here. Robinson. He'll drop it off into the middle. Wide open save. Carrier had an opportunity. Orlov. And now is Jankowski. Could have made it 2-0. Hurricanes, but a huge opportunity stopped by Sergei Bobrovsky. Again, Carrier will take a penalty. And I believe it's going to be a high stick here. So immediately after they had killed off the penalty, Carolina takes another one, and the Panthers are going to go back to the power play. Carrier just snapped his stick, though. And Carrier can't believe he's getting called for that. We will see here. Well, the stick does clip him. Oh, Carrier didn't even get the shot away cleanly. He was trying to go up high, and instead it goes 5-hole because there is a defenseman getting back on him. 1-0 Carolina, but a Florida power play when we return. We welcome you back to Game 5. Still having a conversation here with either Kelly Sutherland or John A. Bear. And Rod Brindamore not liking the penalties here. Rod Brindamore just basically said these are not real penalties, from what I'm hearing from the broadcast. And Rod Brindamore just not liking these penalty calls. That looked like more of a cross-check to me. His stick snapped, colliding into him. I don't know how that's a high stick. Well, they call it a penalty anyways, and that one I'm not sure. That's a weird play. Very weird play there. And the Hurricanes fans are just shocked these are penalties being called in the playoffs, an Eastern Conference final game. And then the missed calls. Officiating has been the problem in the conference finals in both series. The Western Conference final between Oilers and Dallas and this series, and now a power play here and immediately cleared off the face-off by the Hurricanes down the length of the ice, and Bobrovsky will leave it for Seth Jones. 8.5 minutes remaining in the first period here in game number 5. Reinhart will dump it back in, rimmed around. Martinook on the backhand clears it down the length of the ice. Bobrovsky out to play it again, leaves it on the platter for Jones. They're 44% on the road. They're 4 for 6 in the series. They're 11 for 25 on the road. The Panthers, but they had not had any shots on their last power play. Trying to convert here. Shot towards the net and it stopped. They hit a shot, but it didn't go to the back of the net. Cleared down the length of the ice. Shots are even at 5 here. 50 seconds have passed by here on the Florida power play. Bennett will look to move it up into the zone. Dumped back into the corner. He'll rim it all the way around. Marchand will get it along his skates. Jarvis banks it off the boards and clears it down to center. 50 seconds remaining. Marchand drops it off Schmidt off the bench. Here's Verhaeghe making a move. He shoots to save. Marchand poke checked away and Slavin clears it down the length of the ice again. Bobrovsky out to play it. Schmidt now will get it. 5-4, the shots favoring the Hurricanes. Rodriguez will look to move it in. Deflected back into the corners. Burns pressured by Rodriguez from behind. Turned over. Marchand trying to get it. It's covered by Anderson. And a scuffle again. It has been a lot of tension here in the first period between these two teams. And I'm not sure we're going to get any penalties here. Are they going to send any players to the box? I'm not sure. Linesman, either Scott Cherry or Trent Noor are trying to split that up. It was Marchand and Burns after the whistle, as Bennett had this opportunity trying to pass it from Marchand backdoor. And it went off the stick of Burns, and it was right on the platter for Anderson to cover it. Marchand was still whacking at it, even though it was not loose. And that's why we had the scuffle. 21 seconds to go on the power play for the Panthers, with 6:59 remaining in the first period here. In Game 5, Marchand, Bennett, Verhaeghe, Forsling, and Schmid out there for the Panthers on this power play still. Brenton Burns with 17 playoff blocks this postseason. Bit of a delay here off the face-off. Marchand was stalling a little bit there. Face-off won by the Hurricanes and cleared down the length of the ice again. Crowd standing on their feet. They still got 10 seconds to kill off on this Florida man advantage. Schmid looking. He'll dump him in from center ice. 5 seconds remaining. Slavin now Burns. And it's Stahl who looks to move it up. Stahl with a pass for Robinson off his skate. Power plays over. They're 0 for 2. Centering pass for Carrier. Could not connect. And I think they're going to call another penalty. I'm not sure. I think the stick got slashed there. They won't call anything there. Orlov, now Jankowski. Shoots it back in from center. Bobrovsky out to play it. Mikola's pressured along the boards. He missed Game 4 due to injury. Here's Orlov from the blue line. A shot deflected just wide of the net. Lusterinen couldn't clear it. Held in by Jankowski. Up in the air. Goes back behind the net for Hall. Moves it along Blake. Nikishin trying to center it. It's loose in the slot. And they're trying to get it again. And Lusterinen having some trouble. He will clear it. A hit there by Kakanyemi along the boards. Up in the air and back in the Carolina zone, Nikishin. 5:40 remaining in the first period. A line change for both teams. Still patience there by Nikishin. Gets hit from behind by Greer. 6th defenseman in the expansion era with a first career NHL point when facing elimination. That's what he did in Game 4 in Florida. Along the boards, Carrier. And then it's stolen away there. Greer couldn't receive the pass. That's going to be an icing on Florida with 5:11 remaining in the first. And Gadjevic and Carrier exchanged words there. Brent Burns, career games without Stanley Cup, 1,497. He is second most in active players, only behind the defenseman Ryan Suter with 1,526 games. Marc-Edouard Vlasic's out there, and Claude Giroux on that list without a Stanley Cup. This was a hit by Nikishin on Jones earlier on. Hit the partition, I believe. Might have cut Jones a little bit. Shot off the outside of the net. Svechnikov, a weak, innocent shot. Might have been deflected a little bit there, and it could have potentially gone on the short side. And then a collision there, and a penalty upcoming. And a scuffle right afterwards, and exchanging punches is Jarvis and Nosek, and everyone gets together now. Looking to find a partner here. And we're going to have a penalty out of this, and we're going to have a Carolina power play, I believe. The Hurricanes, I believe we're going to go to the power play. A penalty-filled first. As I believe Greer will get the penalty. We'll be back. Welcome you back to the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Eastern Conference Final. The Hurricanes going to the power play with less than 5 minutes remaining here in the first period here in Game 5, trying to make it a 2-0 lead. None of the power plays have been converted on. This is going to be the first power play for the Hurricanes in this game. Let's see if they can set it up here, but the penalty kill for the Panthers is first ranked. Carolina's power play is 5th ranked. Shot saved by Bobrovsky with 4:48 remaining in the first period. Off the faceoff was a tie-up, and Reinhardt actually turned it over to the blue line of Jarvis, and then Goss spared the one-time opportunity. Gobbled up by Bobrovsky on the chance, and we get a whistle 7 seconds in. And that took a quicker time than the Panthers getting a shot on goal on their power play. Goss to spare, looking, he shoots. It was blocked out in front of the net. Goss to spare will chase back for the puck. He has the puck again, he'll drop it off. Jarvis stretches it up, deflected off a skate. Aho will pass it back for Jarvis. More than 30 seconds have passed on the power play here for the Hurricanes. Jarvis for Svechnikov on the far side. Jarvis along the boards. He'll go back for Gostisbehere. Here's Blake looking, trying to create some room. He got a poke check away for a moment. Forsling was disrupting him. Gostisbehere goes low. Jarvis looking. Seth Jarvis is an option. Blake shoots. Oh, that just missed wide. Blake goes down. Looked like a trip, no penalty, I believe. Aho dropped it off for Gostisbehere. Should be another penalty if they didn't call it. I can't believe it. Gostisbehere looking. Delane exchanging spots with Aho. Back for Gostisbehere. Bounce on the stick. Aho looks. Waiting. Goes low. Jarvis lost the handle. Aho will go behind the net for Blake. Pass back for Gostisbehere at the blue line. 30 seconds remaining on the power play. Jarvis, now Gostisbehere. A bunch of passing but no shots. Jarvis, backhand pass, Blake. Aho, now Gostisbehere. Shot, wide, it deflected. All that time working the puck. And then oh goodness, my goodness. Hey, everyone just gets together now. There's going to be a penalty out of this. Punches, exchanges, and it's Svechnikov that's going into the box, I believe. And another penalty being called here again. Oh, Svechnikov with a slash to the back of the leg of Ekblad. That's why everyone was getting together there. It's going to be a 4-on-4. Oh, he's going to get it. Is he going to get ejected out of this game?
Carolina 37, minor penalty for slashing. Florida number 5, minor penalty for roughing.
So still a Carolina power play for 13 seconds. So coinciding minor penalties does not negate the Carolina power play that they just had. Blake with his opportunity actually went off the shoulder of Bobrovsky. I thought he missed it for a moment. 3:09 remaining in the first period. 13 seconds remaining on this Carolina power play. Has had a lot of chances and haven't been able to convert. And most of that, after that Blake opportunity, was just passing and passing and passing, trying to find a lane, and just could not. Now it's Taylor Hall, Stankoven, Kakaniemi, Burns, and Slavin out there. The second power play unit on there for Carolina. And Stankoven will take the face-off against Lundell. Lundell won the face-off. Stankoven at the side of the net, tried to pass it back. Went off a skate in the power play, expiring in 6 seconds. Less than 3 to go in the first period. A scary collision there, and 0 for 1 on the power play of the Hurricanes. Taylor Hall moves it up, 4-on-4. Crossing the line, a lot of bodies up the middle of the ice. Stankoven along the boards. Kakaniemi will try to send it in deep behind the net for Taylor Hall. Hall looking, pressured by Mikkola. Stankoven, pass back, Burns a shot, save made. Bobrovsky from the blue line. 2:32 remaining in the first, and Stankoven again setting up some opportunities. Lusterinen has some trouble with that left knee, I believe, when he took that collision along the boards and completely missed the hit. (8-4), the shots favoring the Hurricanes. Another offensive zone face-off here for Carolina. Let's see if they can get something here. Face-off won by Stahl. Nikishin waiting. He'll send it off the linesman's shot. And Kachuk along the board. Stankoven intercepts. Shot by Stahl. Oh, hit the post. It looked like for a moment they had gone into the back of the net. Everyone got up like it was a goal. I'm not sure if that went in or not. Kachuk behind the net looking to center it. They called it no goal. We will see if we hear a horn or anything. If that went in, now a 2-on-1 down low. Kachuk trying to feed it for Bennett. It was blocked. Bennett couldn't get a shot away. Nikishin trying to move it up for Martinuk. Everyone thought in the building that that puck had went into the back of the net. Jones, pass back for Schmidt, and now Jones again, deflected at center. Hurricanes trying to move it up, Blake. Here is Reinhardt. He'll drop it out for Jones on the outside. Pressured. Jarvis and Jones colliding together in the corner. Crowd rising to that. Barkov holds it in. He'll send it across for Reinhardt. Poked off his stick by Blake. Blake will flip it out to center. Here's Aho on the intercept. Sebastian Aho scores! A weak shot. 2-0. Bobrovsky got a piece of it and didn't get enough of it. 2-0 they lead. A shot by Aho. Bobrovsky had a piece of it, and it just slides through. The shot was powerful, and it deflected off his blocker, bounced down off his pad, and into the net. Mikkola leaving that wide open room behind him. And 1:06 remaining in the period. The Hurricanes get a 2-goal lead. Behind the net is Marchand. He'll go back to the point. Less than a minute shot. Save made by Anderson with 51.6 remaining in the first period. The Hurricanes up by 2 here in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. This shot went off the blocker of Bobrovsky, bounced back off his hip, and deflected towards the net. It went off his blocker, off the thigh of his, and it bounced in. 51.6 remaining. Sebastian Aho with 2 goals in the period. He's on a hat-trick watch. Here is Lundell. He'll go back high. Shot by Kulikov was blocked out in front of the net by Carrier. 6th career goal in potential elimination games. That's second most in franchise history for Sebastian Aho. 30 seconds remaining in the first period. Shots are 9-5 in favor of the Hurricanes. Here's Gostisbehere. He'll shoot it back in from center. 22 seconds remaining in the period. Hurricanes trying to make it 3. Could not get much there as 2 players collide there. An intercept here. Gostisbehere has to hold up and wait because there is someone offside. Sebastian Aho is 7th. Jarvis with the assist. The top guys out there for the Hurricanes performing well. The Hurricanes will take a 2-0 lead going into the locker room. Sebastian Aho with 2 of the goals. And a 2-0 lead for the Hurricanes here in Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final, trying to extend it to a Game 6. If they continue like this, they will. We'll be back with our intermission report coming up next. Sebastian Aho with the 2 goals to make it 2-0 Hurricanes after 20 minutes of play here. We'll be back. We welcome you back to Raleigh, North Carolina for the second period. The Hurricanes down 3-1 in the series. I don't know why I put Carolina leading the series. My apologies. Florida leading the series 3-1. But the Hurricanes in this game are back within a stomping ground and making this a series again, as they've made it 2-0 off of 2 Aho goals. One coming at 1:06 remaining in the first. A huge one there. A dismotivating goal there. And the Hurricanes with a 2-0 lead in Game 5. Trying to come back from 3-0 down in the series. The Stars, on the other hand, with the Stars, the guy with the Stars jersey, down in this same situation. They look to try to make a Game 6 in Edmonton, as they are back at their home ice. We're underway in the second period. If that goes 6, maybe we can see both of these teams forcing it back to their home buildings for a Game 7. Or else it'll be a rematch of last year's Stanley Cup Finals. Slavin will dump it back in, up in the air. Loose shot! Wide of the net. Jarvis will go back high. Burns sends it across. Shot from the line was blocked out in front of the net. Held in for a moment. Svechnikov's shot deflected and out of play. So 32 seconds already into the period. Hurricanes are already pressuring. Pardon me, everybody. Give me a moment. Just needed to get some water there. I don't know why my throat's acting up on me. So I've not been able to stream that much. Throat's been weird. Now a 2-on-1 here. Jankowski moving in. He waits, he shoots, and off the blocker of Bobrovsky. A huge save there. It would have been 3-0. If the Hurricanes were to get that one. The next goal is huge. Driving to the net, it's Nosek. He'll pass it back to the point for Ekblad's shot. Through traffic, it's loose in the slot. Not out yet until it is. Bennett with the puck now behind the net. Already some few chances here for the Hurricanes. There's Bennett who made a move on Stankoven entering the zone. Bennett gets leveled down and he gets knocked off the puck. Burns try to move it up. Deflected, no icing. Bobrovsky out to play it. Was cornered, and then it's held into line by Burns for a moment. Rodriguez couldn't get control of it. Burns cleared out of the zone. Sent back in out towards the goal, and Bobrovsky will cover it as Stahl was pursuing. 1 and 40 seconds into the second period of Game 5. Jankowski with this 2-on-1 here early on. Dragged it on Forsling, and a huge blocker save by Bobrovsky, who needs to be big. He's allowed 2 goals on 10 shots in the game. Uncharacteristically in these playoffs that he's allowed that much already, and those just a few shots on goal. Along the face-off circle, it comes free. Kulikov moves it up for Gadjevic. Gadjevic trying to drive to the net, centering pass for Kulikov. That did not connect. Kakayemi trying to clear it. It is out to center ice again. And pursuing the puck is Nosek behind the net. He looks for an option. He'll pass it across for Schmid. And it's shot back in from center. Shots are 10-6 in favor of the Hurricanes. A 2-0 lead for Carolina. Their second 2-goal lead of this series in back-to-back games now. Cleared out of the zone as Morrow couldn't knock it down. And icing on Florida. 2:20 into the period. The middle frame. Sergei Bobrovsky's been beaten twice on the same side. On the glove side. Aho with 2 chances, and they both went into the back of the net. Either blocker side. It's between the hole that's between the blocker or the elbow area of the blocker or the glove. Face off 1. Svechnikov's shot! Save made by Bobrovsky from the line. And we get another face-off in the Florida zone. Sergei Bobrovsky needed to come up big. Had some good saves, and then Aho has solved them. He's out there again, trying to get the hat trick. A natural hat trick, maybe. Aho in the face-off dot, wins it for a moment, then Verhaeghe had intercepted it. Shot back in, Bobrovsky tried to slow it down, pursuing the puck is Jarvis. Behind the net, Svechnikov trying to get it back. Barkov still jammed up along the boards. Still not free just yet. Aho had it for a moment. And Barkov looking to clear it. He will out to center ice. Burns will chip it back in. Aho. Reinhart shoved him off the puck. Seth Jones will pass it across for Reinhart, who shoots it back in from the blue line. And not cleared out yet. Held in at the moment, and Jarvis will clear it off the boards. Seth Jarvis one-on-one, makes a move, make two, and he almost had a third one to try to be all alone. Orlov gets the pass back as he has the puck again. He'll shoot it back in from center ice. 3.5 minutes have passed here in the second period. Stankoven trying to get it behind the net. Stankoven trying to center it up in the air. Stahl can't get it. Loose to the blue line, held in. Nikishin, and it goes out of play. Into the crowd. As the shots in the period are 1-0. Favor of Carolina so far. Or 2-0. I believe it's 2-1 the shots now in favor of the Hurricanes in this period. 9-1, the O-zone face-offs have gone to the Hurricanes. Only one for the Panthers. Stahl will get kicked out of the face-off dot, replaced by Stankoven. Face-off one here by Carolina. Stahl, Orlov shot! Deflected, and it was saved by Bobrovsky. Forsling will get it now. He will get crushed along the boards by Stahl in the corner, and a whistle. Are they going to call that? I believe it's just an icing. Wasn't sure for a second. I'm like, oh man, they just called a penalty and they didn't announce anything. No, they did not call a penalty. Pardon me, everybody. 16:09 remaining in the second period. Off the face-off one here. Florida looking to move it up. Greer deflected at center. Robinson deflecting up in the air. Carrier trying to steal it away. Carrier to the backhand save made by Bobrovsky. And a little bit of a scuffle again. The tension heating up here in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Hurricanes with a 2-0 lead here in Game 5. Do or die for the Hurricanes. They need to hold on in this game to force it back to Florida for Game 6. Kulikov actually punched Carrier in the face after the whistle. Right here. To the chin. And that's why the scuffle in front of Bobrovsky developed. Face-off in the Florida zone. Shots is 12-6 right now in favor of the Hurricanes at the moment. Blake and Nosek in the face-off dot. Nosek wins it. And Kulikov will flip it out to center ice. Anderson out to play it. Rodriguez almost took him down on a trip. Kulikov behind the net now on the backhand. Circling, looking for an option. Kulikov's shot towards the net, just gloved there by Anderson. With 15:39 remaining in the second period of Game 5. And the Florida Panthers have not generated much offense. Game 5 tomorrow. The Stars looking to stay alive in their series against the Oilers to keep their Stanley Cup final hopes alive tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. If a Game 6 is necessary in this series, it'll be on Friday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern. If Dallas were to win that Game 5, they'd have a Game 6 on Saturday, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern in Edmonton. And if a Game 7 is necessary in this series, it will be on Sunday. And then if Dallas will go to Game 7, it'll be on a Monday, I believe. Barkov. Now a centering pass there, and Barkov couldn't deposit it home. Mikkola deflected off the skate at Anderson. Burns. And then it's deflected up to Aho, who tried to get it. Panthers trying to move it up. Here's Seth Jones moving in. Shot blocked on the way through. Verhaeghe misfired on that one. And the Hurricanes look to move it up. Jarvis driving to the net. He gets taken down, and a penalty upcoming. Will it be a penalty shot? I think it's just going to be a normal penalty for holding. They have not called a penalty shot in these playoffs, and some have looked like they should be penalty shots. Was it a penalty shot? I'm not sure. Let's see what the referee says here. They're just going to call a power play. And so the Panthers take another penalty. It will not be a penalty shot. It will be a power play for the Hurricanes. They look to go up 3-0 here in Game 5 here at home. Aho, Jarvis, Svechnikov, Blake, and Gostisbehere. 2 shots, 2 goals for Aho. If he gets another shot on goal, it would potentially be the hat trick if he's perfect all night. Marchand can't clear it. Deflected. Gostisbehere off a turnover. Blake pressured. Goes back for Gostisbehere. Bouncing puck. He'll pass it across. Aho along the boards. He'll go to the goal line for Svechnikov. Aho sends it across Gostisbehere. He'll get it back from Jarvis. Gostisbehere to Jarvis along the boards. Aho looking. Down low. Was trying to go for a pass for Blake. Svechnikov behind the net. To the point again, Gostisbehere held it in. More than 30's passed here on the power play. Aho gets it back. Jarvis looking. Gostisbehere, one-timer. Wide of the net. Blake off the boards. Jarvis made a move. He'll pass it across for Aho. Trying to cycle the puck here on the power play. Gostisbehere. Now Svechnikov. Shot! Save made by Bobrovsky. Through traffic and a little bit of a scuffle right afterwards, Bobrovsky gets out of the way of things there with a minute and 5 left to go on the Carolina power play. This is a huge power play in the game here. If the Hurricanes were to get this goal here, and it would be a 3-goal deficit for the Panthers to face here in the Eastern Conference Final. 14:01 remaining in the second. 14-7, the shots favoring the Hurricanes. They're trying to make it 3-0 here. Face-off won by the Panthers. Barkov had won the face-off. Barkov will clear it to the line, not out. Hall held it in. That's 2 clearance attempts by the Panthers that have not gone out. Burns, and it's shot wide. And it's cleared out of the zone finally by the Panthers. It felt like forever since they last cleared the puck out of the zone on their power play. Burns will look, and he'll pass it back. Kakiniemi in with speed. Morrow trying to center it. Kakiniemi again. Goes high. Burns, and it's blocked away. Hall looking. Kakiniemi goes low for Stankoven. Cycling it around now. Taylor Hall will go back high to the point. Burns held it in off a skate, and then is punched out to center ice. Kakiniemi pressured from behind by Rodriguez. 10 seconds remaining on the power play here. Morrow passes it cross ice. 5 seconds remaining on the power play. Kakiniemi loose along the boards. Power play expires now for the Hurricanes. And a penalty upcoming on the Hurricanes right after they took the penalty, or after they had the power play. So the Panthers are going to go to the power play immediately after the Hurricanes had just had a power play opportunity. Kakiniemi for holding, and the Panthers again for the 3rd time tonight will go to the power play. welcome you back to the Stanley Cup playoffs. Florida leads the series 3-1. The Eastern Conference Final. Florida's going to go back to the power play again for the third time tonight. They have not scored on any of their opportunities. They need one here to cut the deficit to 1. They're 0 for 10 in the last 3 games. Tonight they're 0 for 2. The first 2 games of the series, they were 4 for 5. The first 2 games here in Raleigh, they were lethal on the power play. Now they have just gone cold on it. So Florida will have another opportunity to try to get on the board. Tkachuk, Reinhart, Barkov, Jones, and Ekblad. They've changed the power play units up a little bit here, I believe. Maybe trying to shuffle it around, potentially. Face-off one here. Burns. And it's not cleared out yet by Martinook. Held in at the line. He'll send it across for Jones. Looking. Seth Jones at the blue line. Here's Ekblad looking again. He shoots. Scores! Might have been deflected in front of the net. The Panthers are on the board. A power play goal, and they're right back in it. Matthew Tkachuk with a deflection out in front of the net. The Panthers are on the board on the power play goal. Yep, that was deflected. Matthew Tkachuk, it was Ekblad's shot. Perfectly deflected off of Matthew Tkachuk's stick. And the Panthers have cut the deficit to 1. And after you had a power play to go up 3-0 and not converting, you take a penalty right after that expires, and they score on that power play. That's bad. And now it's a 2-1 game. Matthew Tkachuk with the goal. And now the Hurricanes' lead is back to 1 again. Bennett with the puck now. Has it behind the net. He'll pass back again to himself. Sam Bennett still at the puck. He'll drop it off for Jones behind the net. First goal in the last 11 opportunities on the power play for the Panthers. Dropped into the middle. Chance here for Bennett. Down low, scores! They've tied the game. 2 quick ones to even the score. Evan Rodriguez has tied it for Florida. And the Hurricanes' 2-goal lead, it just disappears just like that. Wow. 2-2. 2 quick responses there. They had a power play to go up 3-0. They don't convert, and then they allow 2 goals in less than 20 seconds, I believe. Bennett, the pass for Evan Rodriguez to tie the game at 2. Florida has come back from a 2-goal deficit. 2 goals in 30 seconds for the Panthers, and they've tied the game. Wow. And now we have an even score here. That's going to be an icing on the Panthers with 11:48 remaining in the second period. Evan Rodriguez, the latest goal scorer in the game, to even the score at 2. A power play goal by Matthew Tkachuk got them within 1. 30 seconds later, Evan Rodriguez ties it up on a pass from Bennett. Goes to the 5-hole of Anderson, and the game is tied. Won the face-off here with the Hurricanes, but 1 too clean, no one had it. And that momentum gets killed off for sure for the Hurricanes. They were playing such a good game, and now it's turned over here. Shot towards the net was blocked, loose at the side of the net. Verhaeghe will get it now. He'll rim it towards the boards. Barkov along the boards still, pressured by Slavin. And Svechnikov will look to move it up. And that's going to be no icing. Aho got a piece of it. Aho trying to get it again, and he could not. So the 2 goals by Aho have been erased for their lead. And Evan Rodriguez with his first of this postseason. Matthew Tkachuk has factored on both the goals. He had the 2-1 goal on the power play. He assisted on the Evan Rodriguez one to tie it. That's one's going to be a icing here with 10:53 remaining in the second period. 14-9, the shots favoring the Hurricanes, but it's even at 2 now. Wow. And you just got to believe the Hurricanes are just stunned right now. They just give up 2 goals in 30 seconds. They had a 2-goal lead. They had a power play go up 3-0. They don't score on that. They take a penalty right afterwards. Tkachuk scores on that, and then you think, okay, it's just a 1-goal game, and then 30 seconds later, it's a tie game now. They just got to reset for the Hurricanes. If you're the Panthers, you're feeling good right now. They have just tied this game at 2. They had nothing going, basically. Greer. Kulikov deflected up in the air. Will that be another icing? Yes, it will be. 10:35 remaining in the second period. Approaching that halfway point of this game. Kakanyemi with that unnecessary hold there. And then the power play goal by Tkachuk, and then Evan Rodriguez tied it up. It's a bad penalty by Kakanyemi now, but what can you do now? Took the penalty. Had some chances on that power play, though, for the Hurricanes, and they just couldn't convert on it. Now it's an even game. And now the Panthers are going to get to their game now that they feel the momentum. Up in the air, where's the puck? It's in front of the Florida bench. Nosek is offside with 10:26 remaining. 14-9, shots favoring the Hurricanes. Evan Rodriguez, the latest goal scorer. That's a great pass by Bennett. I'm still wondering why this guy's wearing his Dallas Stars jersey behind the Florida bench. I don't know why. Jankowski and Lundell in the face-off circle. Lundell gets replaced, gets kicked out. Verhaeghe couldn't win the face-off against Jankowski. As off the boards, deflected back in. Ekblad will get it along the boards now. Jankowski trying to get it. Taylor Hall couldn't get it now. Lundell still loose along the boards. Goes back high for Orlov's shot. Blocked out in front of the net. Orlov will shoot it back in. Halfway through the game, halfway through this period, a 2-2 tie here in game number 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Florida, if they win, will move on to the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd straight year. Here is Stankoven moving in. He looked to drop it off. No one was there. It'll also be the 6th year that a Florida team were to make the final. That's going to be a penalty. No, it's not. It's going to be a hand pass. I thought that was a sure penalty on Seth Jones. A clear cross-check missed by the referees. A tie game at 2. Tkachuk and Rodriguez, 2-2 in Game 5. We're back in the Eastern Conference Final, Game 5 of the Conference Finals. The Hurricanes and the Panthers even at 2. 2 goals in 30 seconds for the Florida Panthers to even the score at 2. It was a 2-0 lead for the Hurricanes, an elimination game, do or die here tonight for the Hurricanes. If they do not win, they will not play another game of their season. Their season would be over. It'd be the 6th straight year that a Florida team would be in the Stanley Cup Final. 3 in a row for Tampa and 3 in a row potentially for the Panthers. Rodriguez will dump it out to center ice. Burns has the puck and he'll circle back. Brent Burns trying to make a move on Bennett. He did, but couldn't pass it on the pinpoint pass, and no. Backhanded back in. One of the Hurricanes went down awkwardly along the boards near their bench. Less than 9 minutes to go in the second. Slavin with the puck now. Look to move it up for Martinook. Svechnikov trying to get it. Burns and then Mikkola will get it in the corner. Nico Mikkola will rim it all the way around. Jones trying to move it around for Reinhart. Could not. Verhaeghe will rim it around again. Barkov goes behind the net for Verhaeghe. Back for Barkov's shot that missed the net wide. Mikkola. Now Brent Burns. Try to clear it. Barkov's try to send it in deep. Could not. Comes back out to center ice. Nothing going for the Hurricanes, and now the Panthers just feeling all the offense right now. Slavin cleared down the length of the ice. Will that be an icing? Yes, it will be. 8:05 remaining in the second. Verhaeghe passed it to Barkov. Barkov frustrated. He missed that opportunity. He didn't get enough on it. 8:05 remaining in the second. Burns and Slavin have been out there for more than a minute and a half. .805 to go in the second period. Marchand shot towards the net, score! Lundell! It's 3-2 Florida. The Hurricanes have given up 3 straight goals. And the Panthers, for the first time tonight, have the lead. Anton Lundell. Off the faceoff. It was a great play there by Marchand, who centered it for Lundell. And now it's a 3-2 Florida advantage. 3 goals in 4 minutes and 36 seconds. And I believe the Panthers just took a penalty. And so I think the power play is going to be for the Hurricanes. So immediately after they get the lead, the Hurricanes have an opportunity to tie it up. It's crazy that I'm saying that sentence. Like the Hurricanes were in command of this game, and then an interference there by Kulikov. And so the Hurricanes have an opportunity to tie it up. Dmitry Kulikov with the interference, and the Carolina Hurricanes on a must-score power play here tonight. They need to. Their season's on the line. They're up 2-0. Now they've down 3-2. 3 goals in less than 5 minutes. Gostisbehere shot. Deflected over the net. A blocker got a piece of it. Sent down the length of the ice. Anderson will not go out. He's allowed 3 goals. Ever since that power play had expired for the Hurricanes, 3 goals on 10 shots, 2 goals on 14 shots for Bobrovsky. Blake angled off. Jarvis behind the net now as Aho has scored the only 2 for the Hurricanes in the game. Aho deflected to the point. Gostisbehere held it in. He'll go behind the net for Aho. To the point for Jarvis. Off a skate of Lundell, and it's cleared down the length of the ice again. Penalty kills ranked first for the Panthers. And no wonder why. They have been very good on the penalty kill tonight. Hurricanes trying to set up here as they enter in. Blake dumps it back in. Jones along the boards. Deflected off the referee. It is cleared down the length of the ice once again. Anderson will leave it for Gostisbehere. 45 remaining on this Carolina power play. Stankoven sends it across. Stankoven got tripped up. No penalty. And a loss of a handle there. It goes back for Morrow. Sent it across for Burns. Goes low. Stankoven. Back for Burns again. 25 to go on the power play. Stankoven. Burns. Shot. Save Bobrovsky. With 6:13 remaining in the second. 20 seconds remaining in the power play for Carolina. But a good opportunity set up by Logan Stankoven once again. A shot from the point through traffic. Trying to beat Bobrovsky. Florida has come back from a 2-0 deficit. If you're just tuning in with us right now. Florida has come back from a 2-0 deficit in less than 5 minutes in this second period alone to take the lead here in a game where they can move on to the Stanley Cup Final for the third straight year. Cleared down the length of the ice and continue their defense of the Stanley Cup. The defending champs trying to move on here. Power play about to expire in 5. Shot in by Burns. Power play expires. Hurricanes have not scored a power play goal tonight. Stankoven trying to center it, deflected. And just the momentum's all Florida right now. They've had the 3 goals and icing on Carolina with 5:40 remaining in the second period. Nothing's been working for Carolina ever since they allowed that 2-1 goal. Then the tying goal 30 seconds later. Man, oh man, has Florida put a clinic here in the second period ever since they got in that penalty. Kill off a huge penalty that prevented from being 3-0. And then they score on their power play. 30 seconds later, they score again. And then off a face-off play, Marchand made it 3-2. Lundell with the goal. Tkachuk behind the net. Verhaeghe. Hall will flip it out to center ice. Stankoven will try to get it. He's racing for the puck here. Logan Stankoven went down as he lost his footing. Tkachuk turned it over. Shot from Carrier was blocked by Tkachuk. Recovered his own mistake. He's been good tonight. A goal and an assist. Gets taken down along the board. Save Anderson. It's loose. Not covered yet. Now it is. Verhaeghe got bullied to the ice. 5:06 remaining in the second period of Game 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Carrier and Tkachuk exchanged words as he delivered a huge hit along the boards before he went to break. We welcome you back to the Eastern Conference Final, game number 5. 5:06 remaining in this second period. The Panthers have come back from a 2-goal deficit to take the lead 3-2, trying to hold on and win. They're 25 minutes away from another Stanley Cup final, their third straight potentially. Oldest skater with 10-plus assists in the postseason for Brad Marchand since Jaromir Jagr in 2013. And you know who played with Jagr on that team in Boston? You guessed it, Marchand. He's out there again, Marchand. Not Jagr. Jagr did play for the Panthers, though. Not in a playoff game, I believe. Jankowski will look to move it up. That's intercepted at center. Panthers back on their game now. Carolina was taking advantage of Florida not being on their game early on. Now the Panthers have found their game again and started to limit the Hurricanes again, like they've done most of this series. Here's Sveshnikov. Moving in, a shot! Save made. He made a move against the defender. Goes high, Burns, save! 4:04 to go, and Bobrovsky finding his form again. 15 saves on 17 shots. Burns with a one-timer, he didn't even know where the puck was. It was saved between the pads. Never squeezed through them. Through the 5-hole. He's going to be big in the final stretch of things for sure when the Hurricanes try to push. Aho and Barkov in the face-off dot. 8 for 16 on the face-offs. And now it's Barkov who's 10 for 16 in the face-offs now. As he had won the face-off there. Less than 4 to go. Jones with the puck behind the net. And banked off the boards out to center. Barkov will move it up. Onside with Verhaeghe. Shot was blocked to the way through. Barkov spins through Aho. Does it again. Verhaeghe. Shot. Wide of the net. Behind the net is Reinhart. On the backhand. Pressured. Verhaeghe with the puck. Now Barkov shot. Save made. He'll go back high for Schmidt. Barkov let it go through. Slavin will look to clear. Not out yet. Reinhart held it in. Goes low for Verhaeghe. Tkachuk on the backhand looking. Goes onto the forehand. Shot. Deflected. It was blocked. It broke Aho's stick. Goes high. Kulikov waiting. He shoots. Save. Rebound comes up high for Bennett. Makes a move on Sveshnikov. They've been out there for a while, the Hurricanes. And Slavin trying to get it now. He'll clear it down and out of their zone. Like a power play there for the Panthers for a moment. Tkachuk is offside at the line. 2:42 remaining in the second. Unless there was a penalty call, I just believe it was offside on the entry. Great cycling by the Panthers. It had some opportunities. Some good blocks by the Hurricanes. They've limited them off to the outside, the Hurricanes still. 2:42 remaining. The shots are 17-11 in favor of the Hurricanes, but the Panthers with the lead 3-2. That should have been a hold there, and they're going to call it. Carolina's going to go back to the power play for, I believe, the 4th time in the game, and they really need one here. Carolina will go to the power play. Rodriguez for holding. 2:26 remaining. Or an interference, I'm not sure. That's looking like a holding to me. 2:26 to go, and a huge power play for the Hurricanes. Looking to tie the game at 3. Rodriguez shaking his head in the penalty box. Hurricanes need this goal for sure. They'd rather this be a tie game going into the locker room than them trailing again after a period. That's been the common theme in this series. Them trailing. Aho, Jarvis, Sveshnikov, Blake, and Gostisbehere. Gostisbehere, one-timer! Blocked out in front. Backhander denied by Bobrovsky on the rebound as Blake got hit up high. No penalty. Aho gets it back. Pressured along the wall. Slow pass. Gostisbehere sent it across, and then it was Jarvis who messed up on the handle there. Florida trying to go short-handed. Forsling, and it's cleared down the length of the ice. Less than 2 to go in the second period. A minute and a half to go on the power play for the Hurricanes. Dumped back in by Jarvis off the wall. Svechnikov will get it. Pass back to the point for Gostisbehere, now to Blake. Back for Gostisbehere again. One-timer by Aho, save! Blake held it in, down deep. Jones pressured along the wall. And Mikkola will clear it. 90 seconds to go in the second period. Taylor Hall now, the second power play unit on there. A turnover by Hall. And Reinhart trying to go short-handed. Here's Sam Reinhart trying to move in. He's offside of the line. With a minute 19 remaining. Gostisbehere's one-timer through traffic was blocked. And how did this backhander not go through? Aho. A huge glove. I think Bobrovsky even just guessed where that puck was. He got the glove. And this one here from the shot there that got deflected by Jarvis or Gostisbehere. A minute 19 to go. 54 seconds remaining on the Carolina power play. They need one here. For sure. They need to tie this game for sure. They've had too much opportunities on the power play and they have not converted. Hall will shoot it back in. Jankowski to the loose puck. Pressured by Forsling. Deflected off a stick to go back to the point for Burns. Sends it behind the net for Kakanyemi. Makes a move and then he got poked to checked away. Stankoven will go back to Burns. Looking. Stankoven sends it across. Jankowski. Burns shot! Save made by Bobrovsky through traffic with 47 seconds to go in the middle frame. 21 seconds to go on the power play for the Hurricanes. They're getting opportunities, though. Cycling that puck around, but Bobrovsky's been able to see them. He's made 17 saves on 19 shots, trying to keep them off the board for the remainder of the period. 3 goals on 11 shots, though, for Anderson. He looked like he was looking good, and then all of a sudden, 3 quick ones in less than 5 minutes. And there's 10 seconds remaining on this power play. They might be going 0 for 4 on the night. Or 0 for 3, I'm not sure. A turnover here. Race for the puck, Bennett and Kakanyemi. Kakanyemi gets taken down, no penalty. 22 remaining. Here's Stankoven with some speed, trying to drag the puck around. Here's Taylor Hall now into the zone. Shot! Save made. Good chance there by Taylor Hall. Burns. And Kachuk. Deflected. 5 seconds remaining. Last minute rush. Stahl shot wide of the net. And that'll end the period. A 3-2 Panthers lead. 3 straight by the Panthers in the period. They lead 3-2. It was 2-0 Hurricanes. Separation here after the whistle. Stankoven getting in it. And players need to be separated right now by the referees and the linesmen. 3-2, Florida leads. They're 20 minutes away from another Stanley Cup final. We'll be back with our intermission report, hopefully this time. Coming up next on the NHL and MHS. 3-2 Florida. We welcome you to the intermission report here in game number 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. The Carolina Hurricanes, who had a 2-0 lead, has now given up 3 straight goals in this game to now make it a 3-2 Florida advantage. Let's go over the stats. 3-2, Florida leads. They only have 12 shots on goal. Carolina with 19. They've been pushing, but they needed to convert on those power play opportunities like they had. These are the first 2 goals by Aho. We did not go over them in the first intermission. And these were the goals here. Aho at 4:39 on a breakaway. A bad pass by Forsling. Right on the tape of Aho. Beats 5-hole of Bobrovsky. 1-0 Carolina. And then with 1:06 remaining in the period, a 2-goal lead for the Hurricanes here. As a turnover resulted in that. Aho just throws one towards the net. Sneaks through and scores. Second period, after they had just killed off a penalty, Matthew Tkachuk on a power play, tips one in from a shot from Jones, I believe, or no, Ekblad, pardon me. And it's a 2-1 game at that point. 7:23 in. 30 seconds later, Bennett on a rush with Rodriguez and Tkachuk. Tkachuk had a great pass into the middle for Rodriguez. Open room. Bennett pass back. 5-hole tie the game. And then a face-off win by the Panthers. Lundell winning the face-off here. And then Marchand centered it for Lundell. Tips one in, and it's 3-2 Florida. With that goal, and they have the lead. They're 1 for 3 on the power play. The Hurricanes are 0 for 4. Not a good stat if you're a Hurricanes fan. And it has been a tough one for sure for the Hurricanes fanatics, the Caniacs as they call them. And we will see if they can try and hold on the Panthers to move on to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup final. The Hurricanes trying to tie it up and trying to force this series back to Sunrise, Florida for a Game 6 to extend the series. And so we delay the Stanley Cup final start with that. If Carolina were to win tonight, we'd have a Game 6 on Friday night. And if Dallas were to win tomorrow night on Thursday against the Oilers at home in Dallas, they'll force to a Game 6 on Saturday. And then, if a Game 7 is necessary in this series, it'll be a Game 7 here in Raleigh, North Carolina on Sunday. And then if Dallas were to win that Game 6, if they were to win that Game 5 as well, a Game 7 potentially in Dallas at American Airlines Center, the Western Conference Final. It'd be on a Monday night and will determine who will be in the Stanley Cup Final. It's either going to be the Panthers, the Oilers, the Stars, or the Hurricanes. We'll be back with the 3rd period coming up next here on the NHL and MHS. We're underway in the third period. It just started so fast here. Didn't even have time to prepare for that one. That's going to be a nice scene. 16 seconds in. And we welcome you into the third period. That was pretty quick. TNT was rushing that one. Wow. That is, yeah. Just no warning. Yes, you got it. You know they're rushing when they have to have a intermission interview during the play. Svechnikov intercepts that. Enough of talk. This is a huge moment here. The Panthers could move on here tonight. Stolen away for a moment by Svechnikov. Don't back in. Almost a minute in. Could become the fourth franchise since 1979-80 to reach the Cup final in 3 consecutive seasons. That's on the line for Florida. What's on the line for the Hurricanes? Their season. Trying to get the tying goal. No icing. Waved off by the linesman. Orlov. Carolina just needs to keep everything out of their net. Bobrovsky out to play it. Deflected, Forsling. Svechnikov got it now. Ekblad then intercepts, and it will be cleared out to center. Bennett with some speed. Pass, breakaway, Marchand. Poke checked away. Bennett behind the net now. Marchand denied. Rebound shot was stopped. Bennett's been a good setup guy in this game. He set up the tying goal for Evan Rodriguez. And it's built up here again. Deflected back in by Marchand. To the corner. That looked like a hold. Might be a penalty. It is going to be a penalty. A bad penalty to take by Carrier. And the Panthers are going to go to the power play once again. Wow. Just some inopportune times to take penalties here. That's a clear hold. And so the Panthers will go back to the power play once again. A goal by Tkachuk and an assist as well in tonight's game. Tkachuk, Reinhart, Barkov, Jones, and Ekblad out there. And the face-off one here. Slavin will rim it all the way around. Stahl trying to go short-handed. Offside on the Panthers. 1 minute and 55 in. And Greer looks like he's in a little bit of discomfort on the bench. Not looking too good out there. Minute and 55 in to game number 5's third period. And it's deflected back in by Jones. Burns behind the net. Not cleared out yet. Now it is. Jones with the puck now. Will look to move it up. Almost stolen away there by Marnik. Reinhart now. Barkov with the puck now. Looks to move it up now, and Barkov will shoot it back in. Reinhart trying to get it. Ekblad off the glass. To the point for Tkachuk. 2.5 passing by in the third. Ekblad. Reinhart let it go. Tkachuk along the boards. Barkov. Tkachuk couldn't get it. And cleared out to center. Jones intercepted here. Here's Aho trying to go for the hat trick to tie the game at 3. Great pass down low. Denied. Jarvis with the opportunity, sure-handed. And almost the tying goal there by Seth Jarvis, sure-handed. That would have been a momentum killer for Florida. Orlov has the puck. Turned it over instead. Then it's cleared down the length of the ice. .30 seconds remaining for the Panthers on the power play. Rodriguez dumps it back in. Go back to the point. Schmid sends it low. Rodriguez looking. Goes back up high. Verhaeghe's shot, loose in front. Marchand's shot, rebound shot, denied by Anderson. Good chances there. Centering pass for Verhaeghe, saved by Anderson. Freddie Anderson, take a bow. What a saving sequence by the Carolina netminder. Bennett, Marchand were all jamming for the puck. Marchand's initial shot, Bennett loose, Marchand 2. And then Verhaeghe with the shot right into the glove of Anderson. Power play expiring for the Panthers in just a few seconds. But some huge saves there, potentially some game savers for the Carolina netminder to get their team back in it. 13 saves on 16 shots faced tonight. On the other side, Bobrovsky with 18 saves on 20 shots. Face-off one here. Power play expires now, and we're back to even strength once again. Carolina kills another huge power play for the Panthers, deflected right into the seats and out of play with 16:04 remaining. Forsling with this pass almost deflected right into the back of the net. Bobrovsky did not know where that was. If it settled down more, that's a wide open net. Wow. Just a game of bounces and inches. Burns with the puck now as the Hurricanes won the faceoff. Brent Burns looking, trying to center it. He had a man open, deflected off a stick. And that's been the frustration. Florida's really good at doing that. Disrupting plays like that. They've been very good at doing that in the past couple of runs. They're trying to go back to the Cup final for the third straight year. Kachuk. Now it's Barkov trying to go get it back. Verhaeghe's shot never went off. 4.5 has passed by. Aho gets ridden off along the boards. And a takeaway here, potentially. Carrier is still loose under bodies. And Barkov will get it away. Jones, and it's cleared. Out to center. Bounces on the stick of Orlov, and it'll go back. 5 minutes have passed by here in the third period. A turnover here. Given away to Marchand. Pressured. Brad Marchand. Orlov will pass it back, and Jankowski will move it up. Dumped back in. Bobrovsky out to play it. Off the wall, giveaway. Bobrovsky gave it away, centered. Deflected back to the point. Brent Burns with the puck. Pressured by Marchand from behind. Jankowski couldn't settle it down. Slaving a rim around that didn't have enough on it, and Forsling will flip it out to center ice once again. No icing. Brent Burns with the puck behind the net. Stretch pass at center. Blake angled off by Schmid. And a great pass there to move it up for Lundell as they look to counter. Anton Lundell was trying to drag that through Morrow and it could not go. Bouncing puck comes to the slot. But the Hurricanes regain possession and Hall. Try to dump it in. That's going to be offside if they do not touch up. One of the players did not know that, so he has to touch up at the line. Almost already 7 minutes passing here. Hurricane season is on the line tonight. It was the other night as well. Onside for a moment. And then it's Florida who couldn't get the puck again. Marnock up in the air. Goes into the bench and a collision. Orlov. And Barkov getting together. 13:24 to go in the third. It's 3-2 Florida. Hurricanes trying to tie it up. We're back, everybody. Welcome to the Stanley Cup playoffs. 3-2. Florida leading it over Carolina. And the Hurricanes trying to even the score up at 3 to potentially force an overtime here tonight in Raleigh. But a 2-0 lead evaporated for the Hurricanes. Just like that, in a blink of an eye. 5-minute span. 3 goals. Evan Rodriguez is out there with 2 shots and a goal tonight. Even the score at 2. It's going to be an icing here on Carolina with 13-17 remaining in the third period. Their season is on the line here tonight. The Hurricanes trying to even the score. They had 2 goals by Aho to make it 2-0. And then it feels like in elimination games for some reason, back-to-back years potentially, they could get eliminated by having a multi-goal lead and blowing it. Last year against the Rangers, they were up 3-1. And then the Rangers, with a natural hat trick by Kreider, won that game 5-3, I believe, and moved on to the Eastern Conference Final. When they got eliminated in the second round, the Hurricanes, off a skate, Orlov deflected, intercepted, shot back in. More than 7 minutes have passed here in the third period of game number 5 of the Eastern Conference Final. Brent Burns will look to move it up, deflected at center. The drop pass did not connect, and shot back in by Rodriguez. Out of the net, Anderson, and Burns moved it up, and it's cleared out to center ice. Jankowski trying to pursue the puck. Kachuk had it away from him. Slavin, no icing, touched with a stick, so no icing there as it was waved off emphatically. That's going to be another no icing as it was on goal. Slavin, no icings here tonight. At least for the moment. Slavin will dump it in. No icing. Forsling will backhand it out of the zone out to center ice. No icing here. Gostisbehere picks it up. Okay, I'll stop with this no icing thing. This is dumb. This will be no icing. Waved off by the linesman. Again. Held at the line again, once again. Forsling will have the puck. He had a trouble with the puck in the first with that first goal. Jarvis scores! They've tied the game! The Hurricanes with Seth Jarvis' goal to even the score with 11:30 remaining in the third period to keep hopes alive for their playoff run. 2 goals by Aho, 2 by Jarvis, and we're even at 3 over the blocker of Bobrovsky. A turnover by Verhaeghe. Barely chips that one in, and we're tied at 3. Hurricanes with a goal to tie it up here in the third. Behind the defense is Marchand, goes into the corner. Pressured along the wall. Lindell was pressured. Orlov. Crowd is alive again here at Lenova Center. Shot. Marchand. Save Anderson. And he covers with 11:03 remaining in the third. And the crowd rallying once again. The Caniacs going wild once again. Forsling had trouble with the puck. He's had trouble all night. He had it on the first goal, and he has it on this one as well. Verhaeghe did not have his man there on Jarvis, and Jarvis is just wide open. And it feels like we're starting overtime early on now. 11:03 to go in the third. It's even at 3, and it feels like in this game, for sure, the next goal wins it. Especially when the time keeps ticking down. Crowd rallying here in Raleigh, North Carolina, trying to force us to a game 6. A 4-on-2 potentially. It's offside as it hit a Carolina player on the skate. Collision between 2. Bennett off a turnover. Sam Bennett trying to pass it, and it was blocked. Marnock will move it up the other way. He'll send it across ice for no one. He'll bank it off the boards for himself. Stanko in pursuance for the puck. Bennett. And everyone wanted a penalty there. And nothing called. It looked like a elbow to the face of Stankoven. What a hit on Kakayemi. Rodriguez of a huge hit at the blue line. Centering pass comes up high. Nikishin waiting. He slaps one and wide of the net. Rebound Kakayemi. He lost the handle. He had a golden opportunity, and he lost the handle of the puck. At center is chipped. Kakayemi dumped back in. Half a period to go in the third. Jones will backhand it around. Crowd rallying here at Lenova Center. Held in at the line by Kakayemi. Shot. Save made by Bobrovsky. With 9:52 remaining in the third. In game 5, we're even at 3. 22-17, the shots favoring the Hurricanes. Seth Jarvis has just tied it for Carolina to keep their season alive for the moment. We'll be back with 9:52 remaining in the third. We're back, everybody. 9:52 remaining. Tomorrow night, Game 5 in Dallas. Edmonton leads the series 3-1. The Stars trying to stay alive in the Western Conference Final. Game 6 is necessary of this series will be on Friday. Then Game 6 of the Dallas series, if necessary, will be on Saturday. Game 7 of this series would be, if necessary, on Sunday. Game 7 of Dallas-Edmonton will be on Monday, if necessary. 9:52 remaining in the third period. The fans have not sat down since the tying goal by Seth Jarvis, as they look to see the Hurricanes try to win one here at home for the first time in this series to try and extend the series, and we'll go back to Florida if they can be able to win this game. Along the boards, Svechnikov, Jarvis. Svechnikov shot off the outside of the net. Might have fooled some people. Along the boards, fought for Barkov. Verhaeghe held in. Barkov trying to clear it. Pressured Svechnikov. And Jones will get the puck now. Feels like we have overtime early on already. Race for the puck. Verhaeghe with the puck now. With the puck. Said puck so much times. You can't believe it. Ekblad will shoot it back in. Off the boards awkwardly. Save Anderson. Shot. And another save by Anderson. Bennett was trying to get the rebound. It took an awkward hop. And Anderson with some huge saves again. Tkachuk out there as well. Wow. Bennett with the opportunity off the boards and Tkachuk on the rebound. Got a deflection on it, I think, and Anderson covered it. 8:58 to go. Bennett had its opportunity to get the lead back for the Panthers. Denied. As Anderson needs to be big. Both goalies need to be big if they want to force this to an overtime and potentially have a game-winning goal in overtime and send them to a Stanley Cup final. or extend the series to 6. To at least 6 at least. 7 saves in the third for Anderson. 16 saves on 19 shots in the game. 19 saves by Bobrovsky. That one shot wide. And not cleared out yet. Rodriguez almost didn't hold it in. And then it's cleared out of the zone off the boards. Stankoven trying to get it. Now it's Slavin as Florida dumped it back in. Stankoven will send it back in. Bobrovsky out to play it. Ekblad. That deflected into the middle. Race for the puck. Marchand. Slavin getting back. Marchand behind the net. Pressured by Slavin. Marchand circling the net. Blocked that in front of the net. And cleared out of the zone. Jankowski looking to get it. Trying to pass it into the middle. Almost did. It feels wide open here already in the third period. Doesn't feel really closed down yet defensively. 8 minutes remaining in the third period of game number 5. Tensions, nerves building up here at Lenova Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. Reinhart trying to dump it back in. Barkov circling behind the net. Has the puck still. Pressured. Backdoor scores! Verhaeghe! What a play by Barkov! It's 4-3. The Panthers have the lead with 7:39 remaining in the third. What a pass by Barkov. A solo effort. Orlov couldn't angle him out. And a backdoor wide open Verhaeghe, who had lost his man on the tying goal, gets the goal to put him back on top. 4-3. And the Panthers once again have the lead with 7:39 remaining in the third. And now Carolina has to find another response. Anderson had no chance in stopping that. 4 goals on 20 shots. The Anderson's face, but that one's clearly impossible to save it. Slavin. Hurricanes looking for another answer. They need one. Again, they need another hero. Slavin, now Svechnikov moving in on the far side, driving towards the net, angled off by Forsling. To the line again, Brent Burns. Now sends it across for Slavin. Shot, blocked that in front of the net. Slavin held it in. Goes low, Jarvis. Svechnikov in the corner. Pressured by Bennett. Bennett on his knees. And Florida looking to clear it. It's not out yet. Now it's a wide open Ekblad. He'll look to clear it out to center ice. Tkachuk trying to knock it down. That'd be via high stick. Line change. 6:50 remaining and potentially in the Carolina season. The Canes trying to tie it once again. Verhaeghe with his 6th. Barkov and Reinhart with the assists. Blake. Now Gostisbehere along the boards. Lost it along the boards. Something you do not want to do is make a mistake late. That's what the Hurricanes have done here, and they need to respond. Jankowski. Blake couldn't center it. Gostisbehere trying to hold it in along the boards. Marchand, and it's cleared to the line, not out. Or held in by Orlov, but then turned it right back over to Marchand. That was a terrible pass. I don't know what he was thinking there. Orlov has it again. Kind of caused that goal to be scored on by Verhaeghe. So he has all the bad energy right now, I guess you could say. Less than 6 to go. Deflected to the line and out. Nikishin. 5:50 remaining in the Hurricanes season unless they tie it once again. Kulikov sent it across. Deflected. Back down the length of the ice. Anderson. Entertaining third period here. The tightest game of the series might be the end of it. That's going to be out of play with 5:50 or 5:33, pardon me, in the third period. We'll be back. 5:33 remaining in the Hurricane season if they do not tie it. Barkov with the setup to Verhaeghe, potentially the series winner. 5:33 to go, and a incredible play by Barkov, the captain. Verhaeghe, the goal. Backdoor puts it in, potentially the series winner. If the Hurricanes cannot tie it once again, they need to save their season. Right now, they haven't had much in the offensive zone since the Florida goal. Orlov and now Slavin. Now just thinking back at that chance Kakayemi had, and he lost the handle on the puck. And it's just like, wow, if he had the handle on that puck, could we have the lead at this moment? That is tough. That is sent down. Back into the Carolina zone. Less than 5 minutes to go in the third period of a Game 5. Florida leads the series 3-1. Bennett shot over the net. Slavin with the puck now. He'll look to move it up into the middle. He'll shoot it back in from center. 4.5 to go. Lundell. Need a turnover here for Carolina. Stankoven behind the net. And then he gets angled off by Ekblad. Crowd kind of semi-standing here. Hoping the Hurricanes can get the tying goal. Into the middle, Stankoven with some speed and a great defensive play by Lundell to poke it off his stick. Gostisbehere. And a Stahl with the puck now. Gostisbehere again. 4 minutes to go in the third period of a game number 5. Offside at the line with 3:58 remaining. Hurricanes need a goal to tie it. They're down by 1 again. They need one. Rod Brind'Amour needs to think of a strategy now to get one of his players to score in this last 3:58 to save their season and potentially send it to overtime and try to win it in overtime and send it to a Game 6, which would be on Friday, if necessary. Comes a question when you pull Frederick Anderson. He's looking at the bench. I don't think they're going to pull him just yet. Slavin's been out there a total time, almost 25 minutes of ice time. The defenseman for the Hurricanes, paired up with Burns. Aho. Then Slavin tried to clear it. Deflected towards the net. It's slowed down, and Anderson covers the puck. He's made 17 saves on 21 shots. That last goal by Verhaeghe could potentially end this season for the Hurricanes. And for the Panthers, it could be another Stanley Cup final trip. Either a rematch with the Edmonton Oilers, or if Dallas were to come back in their series against the Oilers from 3-1 down to face the the Panthers. If that were to happen, Forsling shot wide of the net. Lundell pressured. Crowd standing here, trying to encourage their team to a tie game. 3.5 to go in the third period of a Game 5. 3-1 series lead. That deflected out of play. Hit the glass, so no penalty. They're arguing for a delay game. Looked like for a moment it might have been a delay game. It is not called that. Shots are 22-21 in favor of Carolina. Oh my, can this be it for the Hurricanes this season? The crowd rallying here in Raleigh, trying to tie the game again here in the third. They had the tying goal by Jarvis, and then Verhaeghe 3 minutes later took the lead right back and potentially could end this series with that goal. Or else we would have gone to overtime. Thanks, Verhaeghe. Bennett, there's a penalty upcoming. And I'm not sure who's going to be on. It's going to be a slash And is it Bennett that's going to the box? It's going to be Sam Bennett who takes a slashing penalty late in the game on Stahl, and a golden opportunity for the Hurricanes to even the score. Sam Bennett for slashing. They need a score on this. The power play's been the problem for the whole night. 0 for 4. They could change it right here to even the score and try to tie the game. I think that's Paul Maurice calling for a timeout potentially. Not sure what that signal meant. Power play for the Hurricanes. Aho trying to get it free off the face-off. Cleared down lane to the ice. That's not a good start. 2:50 remaining. Third period. Power play for the Hurricanes to even the game at 4. Pardon me. Here is Jarvis. Pass back for Aho. Back for Jarvis again. Spins. Centered it. Out in front. Svechnikov missed the net. Aho through the crease and wide. Aho behind the net. Frederick Anderson's out. Trying to tie the game late. Jarvis sent to the cross. Into the middle. Blake waiting. And a turnover. Empty net. Try and wide. Oh my. Inches away from putting a dagger on the Hurricanes and their season. Gostisbehere drops it off for Aho. 2 minutes remaining. Third period. Hurricanes needing a goal to tie it. Svechnikov rimmed it around. Held on the line by Jarvis. Blake. Gostisbehere. Aho. Gostisbehere shot. Loose in front of the net. Shot. Blocked. Loose again. Aho. 1:45. Shot. Gostisbehere denied. Aho. Rimmed it around. Marchand to the free puck. He'll send it down the lane to the ice. No ice because it's a power play for the Hurricanes. Empty net at the other end for the Hurricanes. 90 seconds remaining in their season unless they tie it late. They got to. Rimmed it around. Svechnikov trying to get it. Held it at the line. Aho. Gostisbehere held it in. Sent it across. Back pass for Gostisbehere. Aho gets it again. He shoots. Save. Jarvis. 70 seconds remaining. Spins away. He'll go back to the point. Gostisbehere with 1:05. Shot. Just deflected wide of the net. 1 minute remaining. Barkov to that empty net. Bennett's out of the box. Trying to end the game. Sam Bennett scores. Sam Bennett out of the box. And the Panthers are going to go to the final for the 3rd straight year. This shot missed wide, and Aho on the rebound had an open net and somehow missed it. Bennett out of the box perfectly. And he puts the dagger here on the Hurricanes. And Florida is 54 seconds away from the Stanley Cup final again. 10th goal this postseason for Sam Bennett. 9th on the road. And Aho in frustration. The Hurricane season is 54 seconds away from being done. And you can just see it on their faces. Another one of those conference finals. A timeout being taken here by the Hurricanes. They would need 2 goals in 54 seconds to even the score at 5. If that were to happen, I've seen everything in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Panthers sitting with a 5-3 lead. But then again, a 2-goal lead has been blown in this game. How about another with less than a minute left? We will see. We've seen crazier comebacks than this. But for the Hurricanes, it's going to be a prayer. It's going to be a miracle if they can get this to even. It looks like the Panthers, though, are going to go back to the Stanley Cup final for the 3rd straight year in a row. 54 seconds to go. Empty net at the other end for the Hurricanes. They're going to pull Anderson, almost an own goal right off the face-off. 45 seconds to go. Brent Burns will send it across. And that's going to be offside of the line. 41.5. The Hurricanes. That much time left in their season. A frustrating game for sure. A 2-goal lead after basically half the game. And then you just blow it. 42 seconds remaining. Shot blocked to the empty net. Hurricanes. Aho gets tripped up. And another late power play. Mikkola takes all his time to touch the puck. 28.4 remaining. Is it too late for the Hurricanes? A tripping, and the Hurricanes will go back to the power play late. 28.4 remaining. Brendan Moore already used his timeout, so he cannot take another one. Hurricanes trying to complete a miracle comeback if they can. They need to tie it. Fans leaving already. This might be the last 30 seconds of their season, of the 2024-25 campaign. Face-off one, Aho. Then didn't get much on it. Held it at the line for a moment. Gostisbehere couldn't hold it in much. Burns will shoot it back in. Mikkola deflected to the point. Gostisbehere held it in. Goes low into the corner. 13 seconds to go. Svechnikov. Up high. Gostisbehere shot. Up in the air. It's loose at the side of the net. 5 seconds to go. Gostisbehere pass back. Across. Burns missed it wide. The Florida Panthers are going back to the Stanley Cup Final for the third straight year. Fourth team since 1979 to 1980 to make 3 or more consecutive Stanley Cup Final appearances. The Islanders, the Oilers, and the Lightning. And an emotional Orlov on the bench. An emotional goodbye to the season for the Carolina Hurricanes. Brind'Amour, Paul Maurice shook hands in 2023. Again, Paul Maurice is the winner in this handshake. The Panthers, again, are winners in this handshake. The only thing that's changed, it was not a sweep. And oh boy, was Carolina this close to a Game 6 in Sunrise, Florida. They lose all 3 games here at home of the possible 4 that they could have played in this series if they played Game 7 here. Barkov leading his team to another Stanley Cup Final. Logan Stankoven. There's Matthew Tkachuk. Great game by him, a goal and an assist. Bobrovsky with some huge saves. Who can stop the Panthers right now? They look like a dynasty. If they can do it once again to continue the defense of the Stanley Cup. Anderson had a good game. Not good enough, though, for the Hurricanes overall. A 5-3 win for Florida in this game. And an emotional goodbye for the Hurricanes as their season is done. And the Panthers march on once again to go back to the Stanley Cup Final for the 3rd consecutive year. They won last year. Can they do it again? We will see. Close chances at the end, though, for sure. Hurricanes going off the ice now. Saluting the crowd for a playoff run that gets cut again in the conference finals. 5-3. Florida wins it. Carter Verhaeghe with the series-winning goal with less than 8 minutes to go in the third. A 5-3 win for the Panthers. They are again the Eastern Conference champions. Again. For the third straight year in a row. Carter Verhaeghe's 12th career postseason game-winning goal. He is the definition of clutch for the Florida Panthers. And they're going to go back to the Stanley Cup final once again. Now the question is, who will have home ice advantage in that series? Tomorrow night we'll figure it out if the Oilers will move on, or will Dallas extend their series, and if they can pull a 3-1 series lead comeback, they'd have home ice in that series against the Panthers. Can the Oilers win the series and have a rematch? It'd be the first rematch of a final since the 2008 and 2009 Stanley Cup final with the Penguins and the Detroit Red Wings. Will it be another one of those, or will Dallas spoil the party and come back from 3-1 down in the series? We will find out tomorrow night. The Panthers will go to the final for the third straight year in a row. And the presentation of the trophy here. Wow. Again, the Panthers find a way. This Panthers squad is dangerous. They might even be better from last year's squad. We will see. Presentation here. And let's go Panthers chants here in the crowd. Wow. Another year. Another Panthers win. Wow. The Wales Trophy here. They won. The question is, will they touch the Wales Trophy here? The Prince of Wales Trophy here. It's about to be getting underway here. Let's see here. Panthers will have another Stanley Cup final host in Sunrise.
Commissioner Bill Daly will now present the Prince of Wales Trophy to the Eastern Conference champion Florida Panthers.
Bill Daly, Commissioner.
Yeah, you'd have seen that coming a million miles away.
That.
Hey, Bush, nobody's coming near that trophy.
Barkov did not
That's
touch
the night,
trophy.
but
Wow. The Cats are going back to another Stanley Cup final. The photo here being taken. Wow. The Panthers end the series in 5. And let's go Panthers chats here in Carolina. Well, the Panthers go back-to-back. They'll find out who their opponent is. Edmonton, Dallas. We'll see. Will Dallas come back from 3-1 down, or will the Oilers end the series tomorrow night, or Saturday night, or Monday night? We'll see. The Panthers come back from 2 down in this game, and they will hold on and win this game, and we'll see who they'll face this year in the Stanley Cup final. Marchand again will go to the Stanley Cup final. Wow. Brad Marchand's been to multiple Stanley Cup finals in 2011, 2013, 2019, and now this year with the Panthers. His first year out of Boston, he goes back to the Stanley Cup final in his first year. An incredible squad that Florida has here tonight. A group effort. And the Hurricanes have some problems to fix for sure. And they need to get over the conference final hump. They had not won a conference final game until, I believe, today's Wednesday, right? Monday. And they need to get over that. They need to find a way to get over that slump that they had. And wow, an incredible win for the Florida Panthers. And the Prince of Wales has been presented, and that's we're going to do with that. And we'll go over the goal scoring real quick in just a moment. And a 5-3 Florida win here in this game. It's 2 goals in 30 seconds and then 3 goals in 4.5 minutes by the Panthers. Took the lead. Then Carolina tied it late. Seth Jarvis halfway through it. Rats are on the ice. On Lenovo center ice. And Marchand and the boys will go to the locker rooms. And they throw Rats right at him like he's a goalie. Tkachuk and Barkov will go to their 3rd straight Stanley Cup final. Barkov with a solo effort to pass it to Verhaeghe on the far side. Backdoor. The series winning goal by Carter Verhaeghe. And the Panthers win it. And an unfortunate loss for this Hurricanes squad. Again, losing in the conference final has to be a terrible loss, and I hope my Stars do not lose tomorrow. If they do, it's tough. 5-3, Florida wins it. Carter Verhaeghe with the game-winning and series-winning goal. For Max, thank you for watching. See if we give you coverage of tomorrow night's game. But until then, if that series ends tomorrow, we'll be back with the Stanley Cup final between Florida or Edmonton or Dallas. We'll see you next time.